If you're a flooring contractor, you've probably tried Facebook leads in the past, and you probably think that Facebook leads just don't work. They're full of tire kickers, time wasters. And if you believe that, congratulations, because now you are part of the majority that is missing out on one of the greatest marketing opportunities that we have. In this video today, I'm going to break down exactly why most people utilize Facebook marketing in the wrong way and then end up thinking it doesn't work. And it's probably not your fault. You probably worked with an agency that just didn't really know what they were doing. And I'm going to show you step by step exactly what we do to differentiate ourselves here at Astro Growth. My name is Anthony. I'm the founder. We work with flooring contractors and we help them grow their business by getting more booked qualified jobs. So let's dive into it. First and foremost, it's important to understand the fundamentals. Now, with Facebook, a lot of people think that people are just scrolling, they're mindless, they're not looking for your particular service. And that's why people often will say other platforms such as Google are better for you to advertise on. I just don't agree. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay. When it comes to Facebook, you need to know how to do a few key things that the platform doesn't naturally do for you. And if you can figure out how to do this, like qualifying the right sort of lead and getting them at the right moment in their buying journey, you can get much cheaper cost per lead than on a platform like Google, which is highly competitive and typically much more expensive to get the same like-for-like results. Now, when it comes down to it, there are a few main things that we need to do. The first thing that a lot of people do not do when they advertise on Facebook is put enough friction into the funnel. Now, I'm going to break down exactly what that means. Most of the time when you're advertising on Facebook, you just use what's called a native lead form. And I'll try and pop up an example here on the screen. But what most people capture is just a name and a phone number. And with Facebook trying to make it even easier for people to submit lead forms, a lot of this generic contact info just gets automatically populated. But what people don't go the extra step to do is put in their own qualifying questions. Now, these do two things, okay? Qualifying questions are going to first give you more information about the prospect. So you can ask what sort of job they're looking for, how soon they're looking to get it done, how many other quotes have they gotten already, what's their budget, and so on and so forth. We can ask a range of qualifying questions to know exactly what sort of lead we're talking to and have more information before we walk into either giving them a call or walking into the estimate. But the other thing that does is it makes it more difficult and it puts more work involved into the process for a lead to actually submit the form. And the thing with that is that less people will then end up submitting the form. The people who are just tire kicking, looking around, there to waste your time, well, it's not as simple as a one-click submission and now you've got another phone number that you have to call. These people actually have to go in there and answer some questions with some thought. And if they're not prepared to do even just that, well, that shows a lot about their intent level as a lead. And we can go ahead and we can use this to our advantage to try and filter out more people who have higher intent. Now, the second thing that a lot of agencies do not spend enough time on is the actual marketing material itself. And I can tell you about this from experience. I have seen agencies that have literally just screenshotted a company's logo and put some very generic copywriting on top of it and run that as the ad. My God, no surprise they are not getting qualified leads. So you want to make sure that you have ad creatives that are actually doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And this is probably the most important part, right? Imagine the difference between a video ad of somebody refinishing hardwood floors, okay? It's entertaining, it's nice to watch that process take place, but it's going to speak to the masses. It's going to speak to anybody who's just remotely interested in seeing home restoration videos or anything like that. It's not actually going to filter out who you want, okay? Those sorts of videos that just show you the process and then say, hey, if you want to learn more, or if you want to explore getting your home done, then you can click here. They might capture a lot of people, but they're not going to get the specific people who are at the lower point in the buying funnel, right? In the buying journey that are closer to actually pulling the trigger and need a job, okay? So let's flip this on its head. What are some other examples that you can come up with? Well, if you were to go ahead and put advertisements out there saying, if you have a better quote, we'll beat it by 10%. Think about what that does inherently. Just as one example, now you're only targeting people that have already gone out and gotten another floor sanding quote. So they're going to be a lot further along the buying journey. You're also putting in some urgency and giving them a reason to stop and maybe consider your business before they already go ahead and buy with somebody else. And now what you're doing is you're actually speaking to people who have a much higher chance of making a buying decision rather than just calling you and asking, hey, how much do you charge if was going to do my floorboards upstairs? I was talking about it with my lady at dinner last night, those sorts of leads, right? Because we're using the creative and the copy to drive urgency. And that is just one example of many ways that we can really get creative to target and speak to the people who are more likely to buy from you. And then the third way, and the final way that we're going to talk about in this video today, is actually having your system dialed in before you go ahead and you actually start running ads. And so a lot of people just run ads and push this traffic into a business that has a lot of holes in it, and then they blame the ads for not working. Meanwhile, half the time they're not picking up the phone because you're busy on a job and you've got loud machinery going on, or you haven't got any sort of qualification process in place, you haven't got any sort of missed call text back or booking scheduling system in place. And so without any of this stuff, right, you are ignoring the number one metric in sales and in conversion that we have found, which is speed to lead, which basically means from the moment that a lead comes into your business, when they submit a form, to when they are able to get an estimate from you or get a call from you or get in touch with you, okay? So that is why in our agency, we do things a little bit differently, where the second a lead comes in, we have a system that will automatically call you and then patch you through and call the lead. And then if the lead does not get connected in that initial call, we're doing things like automated follow-up with that lead. We're messaging them. We're trying to book in a time that works for a phone consult. We're asking them, what suits, and we're prompting you as well to call them too. We're also using other things for inbound leads that are calling us. For example, using AI voice receptionists, so that if you're busy on the job site or if it's after hours and you don't want to answer your phone, then you can have the AI receptionist in place and they can actually talk to the lead, qualify them, and schedule them in for a time that suits. So having these things in place is massive, as well as other forms of automations that can massively help, such as Google review requests, so that these get sent out automatically when jobs get completed and you don't have to manually remember to ask every time, as well as any sort of pre-call, pre-estimate framing material that you want the prospect to go through. So that can be some material, whether it be a pre-estimate questionnaire, whether it be some form of intake form, some form of information about your business, your process, your history, so that you can better pre-sell and pre-qualify the lead, right? All of these things help you to have a very repeatable, almost conveyor belt like system for your business that allows you to have a much higher chance of connecting with the lead and converting the lead into a booked and qualified job, which is exactly what we install into our clients' businesses to help them not just get more leads, because honestly, the number of leads is just a vanity metric for most agencies, but to actually get more revenue flowing through the door. And so that is why setting up your Facebook ads correctly, especially the lead forms, and having the right creatives as well as the right copywriting, and then finally having the right automations and sales sequence and process in place is the massive differentiating factor that nobody talks about, as opposed to just saying Facebook works or Facebook doesn't work. Hopefully, now you're able to understand why there is a little bit more nuance in this game. So, as I said, that is going to give you a really quick overview. Obviously, there is more that goes into it of how you can get the most out of Facebook marketing as of July 2026 when this video is being made. But if you would like to learn more, or if you'd like my business to come and help do this all for you so you can just do the jobs and make more money, then you can go ahead and you can book a call in the description below, and you can get in touch with myself and my team, and we will be more than happy to see if we might possibly be a fit to work together.